Hello and welcome to another edition of your favourite podcast, Insane in the Membrane.
Insane in the Membrane.
Hello everybody, welcome back. I am in my flat as I do this introduction, and I'm having a nice time. I'm sat here in my shorts. I haven't put the heating on though, so I don't know why I'm doing that. I think I was in the process of going to the gym before we did the record this morning, and then I just ran out of time, so now I'm just sat in my gym gear. I've done that before. I feel like I've been, because I'm in my shorts. Just, you know, we talk about this in the episode. Actually, we talk about trying to just like little changes in your life to try and improve things, you know, and you'll hear that in the episode coming up. I am trying, I'm doing my best. We went out the other night, and producer Paul and I and his son and his brother-in-law, we all went out and we saw Mr. Tom Stade in action. That was good fun. And I've not been to a gig like that for ages. I'm normally working, so it was nice to be at a gig and just be able to chill out and actually have a laugh. And not that I don't laugh at my other gigs, but it was nice not to have to worry. It was lovely. I had a really nice time. Didn't have any dinner, and I got a bit squiffy, and so yeah, I've got to learn not to do that. I ended up I get that in the end. I have a pint and I go, right, I'm having all the pints, and then producer Paul was going, mate, subtly going, look, I'm having a burger, have a burger. And I went, no, I'm not going to have a burger. And I had pints, then I had to get the bus home back to Brighton, which is 2 hours, and I bought a load of shit from Sainsbury's, and I ploughed into that on the bus, and then just woke up this morning going, oh, you're such a piece of shit. So anyway, I'm going to have to reevaluate my life. But we talk about that in the episode. You'll hear that in a minute. I hope you lot are doing all right. I hope you're well. This week's guest is the wonderful Kate Barron. I've worked with Kate a few times in the past. She's a wonderful human being. And yeah, I don't know why we've not had her on before. There's a few guests you kind of go, yeah, we should have had you on already. But you know, we've got her on now, and she's absolutely wonderful. We talk about all manner of things. She's one of the easiest people I find to talk to. I think it's when I first met her at a gig, we just hit it off straight away, and it's so nice when that happens. When you feel like you've just known someone, you just click with people. It's so nice, and it makes for such a wonderful interview. You'll hear that in a minute coming up. So you know what, prattling on, let's get on with it, shall we? Coming up in a minute is Kate Barron.
A podcast from producer Paul.co.uk.
Insane in the Membrane.
How you been, Kate? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. It was so funny because Gina set this up, and she's like, you know Richard? I'm like, I don't know Richard. And then she's like, you know him. And I'm like, no, I don't. And I'm like, oh, Rich? Yeah, I'm Rich. Like,
yeah.
I'm not, you're not some formal prince that I have to address as Richard. So I was like, who are you talking about?
Only my mum calls me Richard.
So it is so funny that when somebody, that's like when girls date guys, I feel like if they date a guy named like Chris, and I don't know, it's like this weird mothery thing I think a lot of women do, where they go, this is my boyfriend Christopher, and you're like, shut up, his fucking name is Chris. Or
yeah, chill out.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a few people that they call me Richard ironically, and it's quite funny when they do it. It's quite well, Richard, and you go, all right, okay, I'll let you get away with that.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not. Yeah, so it's funny, isn't it? Because you just know. Yeah, I'm just Rich. It's funny, isn't it? Yeah. But I'm glad you're good. I'm glad you're well. Are you going to Fringe again? You going to Fringe?
Fuck no.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely not. And the thing I think is so funny, people were asking me in September, they're like, oh, you had a great run. Are you going to go? And I was just like, did I have a great run? I was like a mess after Fringe. And it was just a lot. And I felt like I'd just been through the worst divorce in my life. And people are like, are you going to go get remarried? And you're like, give me a minute. Like, it was good and bad, but yeah, I cried every single day. It financially and emotionally broke me. It was hard, and I knew it was hard, but it was harder than I was even prepared for.
Everybody said the same thing.
Yeah.
Everyone. And I think there were so many factors involved that were going against everybody, like the train strike, and I'm with the workers. I'm not saying I'm not.
Yeah.
But that impacted, and then you had the rubbish strike, and then you had fewer people were going because fewer people can afford it, and yeah, it was brutal. And we were really lucky. We had somewhere to stay and bless her, Laura, she's such a wonderful person. She's like, yeah, just stay here. So we were lucky because if we hadn't had that, fuck knows what we would have done. It was crazy.
I stayed in like student accommodations, but it was like a 35-minute walk from my venue out into Newtown and down. And so I'm like, it'd be 2 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm walking 35 minutes home through like a wooded area by myself. And I'm like, this is probably not a great idea. Plus just like, yeah, it was a lot. It was just like a marathon. And it was my first Fringe ever. Like I'd never done a full Fringe. This was my debut. And I think a lot of people were trying to go, this is how it's going to be, or this is how it's going to be. And then of course I did work with PR and stuff, and I had a promoter, and there was a lot of promises made. And just feel like you just really saw who some people were. Like, it's so intense up there that you really see who some people are, and even who some comics are and how they are. And like, they want to be around the cool kids and in the cool areas, and they want to be like, all like celebrate everything. They couldn't give a fuck about you. But then I had some really lovely things happen too, that I'm like, okay, my faith is a bit more restored. And like I was really down after one show, and I was feeling just awful, and I was like sitting on the side on this like the curb out where I was at the Tron, so it's like 100 square, and I was sitting on one of the steps there, and I was just like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing here? What is happening? And then Helen Bauer and Harriet Kemsley, who are just lovely and hilarious women, walk up, and they're like, what's going on? What's happening? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just having a bit of a time. And so then they both just went on their Twitter, went on their Instagram. They were taking pictures of my flyer. They were like, go see Kate Bear. Like, just good people pulling through and just wanting to be nice people and really shout you out. And yeah, just good people who I'm like, okay, you are the kind of people that I want to be near. And then there's other people where you're like, yeah, it's been kind of hard. They're like, has it? Ooh, that's too bad. I'm 22 and my daddy paid for this, so I don't really get what you're saying. I don't know what a job is, but like, sounds hard.
Oh, anyway, bye.
Ew, a poor person. Yuck, I don't want to get
that. There is I think definitely up there it feels there's more of a class divide than there is the rest of the time. But I mean, I think things are gonna. Edinburgh's a different animal. That needs completely revamping. It's a thing that we all know is fucked and needs to change. Because it is. No one's making any money apparently, but there's millions and millions of money getting pushed into it. So you go, well, it's going somewhere.
Well, like I was talking to my boyfriend, and he's like, "This is a Ponzi scheme. Like this is, it is. It's just set up like an old school Ponzi scheme, and like you suckers at the bottom, all the artists, and my family in Canada, they're like, wait, you're performing every day for hours for a month, and you're gonna still lose thousands of pounds." And I'm like, yeah. And it's a privilege to do so. And they're like, that doesn't, we cannot compute that. That doesn't make any sense.
Make sense.
I'm like, yeah, but it's just how it is. Like you sort of have to do it to be like, I have done it to get the reviews. Because I'd never been reviewed. I've never been starred before, any of that. And so I was like, I felt like I had to do that. But I don't know. Who knows what.
Oh man. I think this is the issue across the board with all jobs. Everybody, this is why people are striking now, because they're just not getting paid a decent wage. Yeah. For a job, for the work that they're doing. They're expected. It's getting to the point that employers almost expect people to pay to work. It's like, you should feel privileged that you're here. And you're like, pay me properly, you piece of shit. And then it's bullshit. The whole thing's bullshit. The most disgusting
thing I ever heard. So all through the pandemic, I worked for a charity called Debt Free London. So it's a nonprofit, and it does impartial credit, like advising basically for people if you're in debt, if you're struggling. It's a great charity. There's lots of those. So you can call them up and go like, creditors knocking on my door, bailiffs, I don't know what to do, I'm going to be evicted. And they can help you. They can help negotiate. Like, it's great. And while I was working there, I just became a lot more attuned to like what was going on over here as well. And it's so insane that people who are like, I'm a nurse and I work full time and I'm doing 12-hour shifts and I can barely afford to put food on the table. Like, are you fucking for real? That's disgusting that we cannot pay like our healthcare teams. Oh, we're all clap for them, but then like fuck them when the actual time comes. And the grossest thing that I heard was BT. So, you know, like BT's a massive organization.
Yeah.
They set up a food bank in one of their offices for their staff, for their call center staff. Yeah. And they're like, oh, and they tried to push it off as though it's like, it's a great thing. It allows staff who don't really have enough money. But then it turned on them and they were like, so you're not paying your staff a wage that allows them to eat food and you're trying to act like this is so great. You're allowing other members of staff to bring in pot noodles for them. Like, that's disgusting.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that gross?
Yeah, that's the worst thing I've heard.
Why are you working if you can't even afford it? You may as well go on benefits and you may as well do this if you can't get ahead or save or pay for things or like it's wild. Yeah, it's really sad.
Oh, well, this. I think we've talked about this before on here. The fact that if you're that kind of person that is a great person that wants to be a nurse and take care of people, you should be given every incentive to do that job, because not many people can do it. You know, yeah, we all have empathy and we all care, but not to the extent like nurses and doctors and people like that do. But you have to pay to train to be a nurse, and then you need to have your wages topped up with universal credit or whatever, because you're not earning enough, and you get charged to park your car at work, and it's like, it's fucked. That should never be happening. I
completely agree. So my sister's a nurse. She told me she has to buy her own pens. The hospitals don't even supply the pens at her hospital for them, and they have to chart with pens. So they don't even. So they're like, she's like, pens are gold. And like, if you lose your pen, so you have your own nice pen. I'm like, why are you buying these pens? She's like, well, because they're my pens. I'm like, what? How? It's like when school teachers aren't given like books for the class and things. Like, I didn't know when I was little. I thought, you know how like you go into like your grade 1 class or whatever, and there's like decorations and alphabet all around. I assume that like the school obviously did those. Those are all teachers paying to put up decorations and all of that in their classrooms.
Oh,
so like empty rooms with nothing. And the fact that that's just like, that's expected, like they're already on a shit salary and they're just expected to go above and beyond and do this, infuriates me. Like, it absolutely infuriates me. But then I know people who are like fucking coke snorting bankers who are just given everything and more than enough. And they're like, oh, I have like 4 phones. Do you want to spare? Because like, well, I don't need another one. And you're just like, what in the world?
There's such a disparity between everything now, especially with the people that are in charge of everything, in charge of the money, or you know, the bosses of everything. They don't use the NHS. They have private healthcare. Yeah. They don't. They probably get their shopping delivered. They don't even know how much a pint of milk is. They have no clue, and so they just assume that because people with money always assume you've got money. Yeah. The amount of times I've been out with people and they're going, oh, well, we will get this, we'll get that. And you're going, I can't afford that. I'm going to have to get my own shit. You can split the bill with you. You're like, what do you mean you haven't got any money? You're like, I haven't got any money. You go, but you're working all the time. You go, yeah, but it doesn't work like that. It doesn't come in like that. It's just, we're all chasing our fucking tails at the minute.
That whole splitting the bill thing is like, it kills me, because also I don't really drink that much anymore. And so if I go out, like I was out, you know, on a holiday actually recently with some friends, and they insisted on going to this really, really nice restaurant. I think it was like in the Ritz-Carlton, this restaurant. And I was like, fuck, already like, fuck me. And so we're there, and then I'm like not really drinking. I'm not even that hungry. So I'm just going to get like an appetizer or something. And then my, a couple of the friends who I love them, they're ordering like martini, they're ordering 20-pound martinis basically, and one after another. And they're like, should we all just like divide it up? I'm like, no. I'm like, I'm really sorry, but like, I cannot. And then they're like, ugh, I hate talking about money. And I'm like, of course you do, because you have it.
Yeah.
Like, I have to be realistic about money, but they're like, I hate talking about money. And they're like, fine, I'll just pay for everything. And then I'm like, I don't need you to pay for me. I just need to not pay for you.
Yeah.
Like, oh God, this happened. I once went to a birthday party at Soho House, and this prick of a fucking guy, I hate him so much. He wears like a little like ascot and like thinks he's like, I'm convinced he's a scammer because I've only ever seen him in one outfit. It's like a very nice outfit with like Dolce & Gabbana and stuff, but I'm like, I've only ever seen him in that one outfit and all the times I've ever seen him. So I'm convinced he's a scammer. We went to Soho House for a birthday party and he's like, oh, what are you guys drinking? And I was like, I don't know, just some like shitty by the glass of wine. And he's like, let me try it. Taste it. And he goes, ugh, that tastes like dog food. And then he goes, I'm going to order wine for the table. Orders wine for the table. Orders wants of tequila shots for the table. Orders all this stuff. And then at the end, he goes, okay, so we're all splitting? And I was like, what?
Right.
I was fine with my dog food wine. I'm okay with that. Like, I grew up eating dog food. I'm fine with that.
Yeah. And when you call people on their bullshit, then you're made to feel like you're the arsehole all the time. You're like, no, the reason I already said I can't afford to come here. I already said that. I already feel bad that I've already had to say that. But I'm here because I don't want to be a dick. But I'm here and I'm just going to have to pay my way. When I've got money, I will, I'll pay for something later on, but I can't pay for this.
Yeah.
And nor should you expect me to while you've been doing £20 shots or whatever you've been doing, But that just shows a complete lack of, like, it's almost like emotional intelligence or social awareness, right? That they're so oblivious to that, some people. But I love, my favorite thing now, I don't like confrontation, but I really like sort of soft confrontation and like calling people out. So it's like if somebody makes a really fucked up or like racist joke or whatever, or like a really like misogynistic joke, I'm like, I don't get it. I'm like, why? What is the joke? And then they have to explain it and they go, oh, it's funny because this group of people are dumb. And you're like, oh, okay. And then they explain it slowly. And then they hear what a fucking asshole they are. And then you go, oh, and you just play dumb. Playing dumb and making people repeat themselves or explain themselves is the most beautiful passive aggressive way to be confrontational, I think. I think so. Just playing dumb. It's the best. Just quietly calling them on their bullshit. Yeah.
And making them look like an absolute fucking prick to everyone else because everyone goes, ooh.
Or I get taken to one side, or I'll be somewhere and someone will tell me a joke that, and you kind of go, oh man, just, yeah. They go, I know, yeah, but you have to realise why that's not funny now. You have to remember, they go, yeah, but when we were kids, we didn't know any better.
Yeah, like, a lot
of grown-ups were teaching us. Yeah, the grown-ups we grew up with, a lot of them, they thought that was fine. So we thought it was fine because the grown-ups were telling us it was fine. But now we're the grown-ups, and now we have to be making the changes and go, no, you can't. You can't say that anymore. Come on.
Because you're like, I feel like, well, you're sort of this interesting guy because I think you're so in tune with things and so aware of things, but you're also like a blokey bloke kind of guy. And so do you think people pull you aside a lot, or do you think people do that? Or like, Rich will get it. Like, he gets it. He's not one of those fucking woke people, and I can talk to him like this. Do you think people assume that of you?
Not really. Do you know, I get the other way. I get people confiding in me because they get it as well, but they feel because of maybe their friend, their group of friends, or their family, or whatever. So they can't be showing people that they're progressive at home or amongst their friends still, because they'd be seen as weak. But they confide in me and they go, yeah, I totally get it. I get messages all the time from blokes just going, yeah, this is your podcast, man. I think it's brilliant. And, it's I get the opposite, that people confide in me about being more aware. And I still get it wrong. I still get people,
of course,
they go, like, my sons are really good at that. Like, we'll be having conversations and I'll say something and they go, oh yeah, but Dad, blah blah blah, and I go, oh yeah, sorry, it's just because it's been in my brain for 45 years. So, you have to excuse me, lads.
No, but I think that's one that makes me, oh God, it's just heartbreaking that like guys feel like they can't just be more sensitive or be more like liberal or woke or whatever the fucking term is. I hate the term woke, but like they just can't be like that. But the whole thing about being called out and being aware of it, that's totally fine. I think where people get their backs up, right? And this is like, my mom and I struggle with this because like I try to push her, and I know how to push her buttons, so I really try to push it on her to make her sort of be more self-critical and flex her critical thinking skills. And I'll push her a lot. But the thing is, you can say something racist and not be a racist, right? And I think that's the thing. I think people, if they get called out going, oh, you said that, that's actually really like inflammatory, that's really hurtful, that's pretty racist, and I'll explain to you why. And they go, oh, I'm not a racist. No, I'm not saying you are. I'm not saying you as a person. I'm not making some huge judgment on who you are as a person. I'm saying the thing you just said, and you said it probably because you grew up hearing it, and you grew up with it being put in you, and you grew up with all these things. So it's sort of just like, know better, do better, you know? And just as you say it, go, cool, hands up. I did say that. That was shitty. I get why that was shitty now. And I will not say that in the future. And that's all that needs to be done, I think. But people freak out and they go, I'm not this or I'm not that, because they just think like if they say one misstep. And I think it is really easy to misstep now. And there's a lot of things change right now in vocabulary and more understanding of things. Like, even like, it wasn't that long ago that I learned even the idea of like, a lot of my friends are real estate agents and they always refer to it as the master bedroom. And they were like, do you know that's rooted in slavery? And I was like, holy fuck, I did not know.
Yeah.
So now it's called the primary bedroom or the owner's suite usually. And I was like, shit, I didn't know that. That's really interesting. But it's like, you just don't know. And you're not doing it intentionally, but then
No.
But just learn from it and don't be a complete fucking dickhead when someone tries to educate you and go, actually, this is how it is. And you go, oh shit, okay. I didn't know that.
I think there's that as well. There's the people are getting fed up with being, they feel like they're having people having a go at them all the time.
Yeah.
So I think there's a way, like you said earlier, there's a way of talking to people where, you know, because I'm not, when you're talking to someone or you're correcting them or saying, hey, actually, we don't say that anymore. You're not being a dick, but there's a way of doing it where that person you don't make that person feel like they're beneath you. You know, you can do it in a way that's, you know, pretty chilled and, you know, you're not preaching or having a go at someone. Yeah. But I think there's a lot of people now, they feel like they're just being had a go at all the time. So now they're just pushing against it and, oh, well, fuck you woke piece of shit. Oh, don't fucking tell me off. Then you can go fuck yourself. And there's a resistance there as well. And that's, you know, that becomes an issue.
I think it is how you approach somebody. Like, I think you have to give somebody, it's like if you're in a fight, like you're married, you know what it's like to fight with your partner. If you're in a fight with your partner, you should come at it from the point of view of they're not intentionally trying to hurt you. This person loves you and cares about you, and maybe it's a misunderstanding, but they're not intentionally coming from a bad place. And I think you should, if you're trying to explain something or like correct somebody's behavior, you should try to come at it from a point of view of like, maybe they just don't know better. So I'm not going to go in on them. I'm just going to be like, I totally get, you probably aren't aware how this comes across when you say that. So just so you are, if it was me, I would want it pointed out to me. And kind of like if I had spinach in my teeth, I'd rather you tell me to my face, that kind of thing. And just be have a little bit more grace with people, because it is about how you approach someone. If you go, that was fucking racist, you're a piece of shit. And you go, well, then fuck you, because you're just attacking me right away. Also, I've sworn a lot on this podcast. Is that...
No, that's good. No, that's fine. That's the thing. You can swear your head off. It's one of those things. We can talk about these things. Yeah. It doesn't, and mental health is an important conversation to have, but it doesn't have to be stiff and starchy. Yeah. It's like two people sitting in a pub or a cafe or whatever, being themselves. There's an assumption that if you talk about these things, you have to be sat in a suit and tie, and they go, well, the thing is with mental health, and I go, no, you're a piece of shit. Stop being a piece of shit, and then you'll feel better.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it comes down to. No, 100%. I'm not one. Well, you know me. Like, I'm not one for being. I'm not like on all the time, or I don't have some like curated personality for different people. I sort of like, I am who I am. Better or worse, I guess. We'll see.
No, I said that the other day, actually. I'm not different doing this, or I'm not different on stage than I am in real life. I'll just be going along in my life, and then someone hands me a microphone, and then I do that for 20 minutes, and then I just carry on doing what I'm doing. And there's no real change.
I am a bit different on stage, I would say. I'm a more exaggerated, amped up version of myself on stage, but only because being... Like, I think a lot of comedians they're great at critical thinking, and they're great at seeing both sides. And we observe people, and we have a lot of like people in our lives or we meet audience members who are from different backgrounds and all that kind of thing. So I think we actually think about things a lot more on both sides of like, both points of view of the same topic.
Yeah.
So you could go like, well, this makes sense, but this also makes sense. But when you're on stage, you're going, well, it could be this or it could be this. That's not funny. So you got to go, it's this, fuck you. This is what it is. And because that's funnier to take a hard line on it. Right. And But that's the only thing I'd say I like seem very hard line on things and like more aggressive. But sometimes my boyfriend's watching me and he says that he doesn't recognize who I am on stage all the time because I'm like a softer, like kinder, maybe version of myself off stage. I'm still me and it's still all my opinions and I back anything I say and everything. But it's not as much of like, I do genuinely think that you are just like, they hand you a microphone and you're like, just keep talking and keep going.
I think that's it. It's just, it's funny. I was talking to Tom Stade the other day, and I've known Tom years, and we were talking about that very thing, about comedians shouldn't really take a side. We should kind of be looking at the whole thing. Yeah. The whole thing, human beings and human nature as a whole, and picking that apart and going, well, that's fucked and that's fucked on all the sides, all the arguments. We should be standing back and going, yeah, I totally get where you're coming from. I get where you're coming from. But I shouldn't really be siding with anyone. You should be just finding the funny. As long as no one's getting hurt, you're not punching down. But as long as, and we were just talking about that, going, yeah, you should just be we should be observers, because that's what we are. Like you said, we're observers. We observe it all, and then we comment on it.
Yeah, that's sort of like what I think, like Bill Burr. I'm a big Bill Burr fan, and what Bill Burr does really well, he'll say really something like big and inflammatory of like a hard line of like, this is why women are awful, and then he goes into like a whole blah 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 thing about it, and he's very good at doing that and kind of examining it as a whole. If I met Tom Stade for the first time in Edinburgh, and he came in with JoJo Sutherland into some gig, and JoJo was hosting, and they had a few drinks. And, and I'd never met him before, and I went up and gigged, and he kept being like, "You're the real fucking deal. You're the real fucking deal." I really like that, but I'd never met him. I've only heard like loads of stories, but he's a fucking funny guy.
He's one of those people. Yeah, he just walks his own path, and he's kind of look. This is how I feel about this today. I might feel different about that tomorrow. Yeah, I don't know. Just see how that's where I'm at today. I just want to make people laugh and just do. I want to be able to do it. That's all I want to do. And there's no malice in him. And I think that's the thing. Sometimes people look at comedians and they'll go, "Oh, well, he said this, so back to what you said." They go, "Oh, he said," not necessarily Tom, but other comics. "Oh, he said that, so he's clearly a misogynist, sexist piece of shit." Yeah. You go, no, he's making a joke about, like, Bill Burr gets shit all the time. Yeah. And you go, you're not listening to what he's actually saying. Yeah.
I know you're not listening, or you're taking it completely out of context, whatever he's saying. And like, you're taking a 30-second clip and it's part of a 20-minute bit that is all about, it's so nuanced, but that is the problem with anything, right? You take it out of context and it looks really fucking bad, but it's just like, it's just people not listening or not wanting to hear, that's the worst. Some people just they don't want to hear, and they're just like putting their fingers in their ears, and they just go like, I heard enough. I heard as much as I need to. That's it.
Yeah. And then that's it.
And that's it. Yeah. I re-listened to the podcast you did with Esther Manito, and it's just so good. I think she's really brilliant, and I think she's hilarious, and it is just funny. And going back to, it's even like when a woman steps on stage, right? And they just kind of go, "Oh fuck, I don't want to. It's time to get a beer." And they get up and they're like, time to take a piss. All right, we can go.
There's still a bit of that, and it just but changes are happening. We are making changes. Yeah, we might not see the results in our lifetime, but the next generation will definitely benefit from what's happening now, and I think that's what we have to remember. Yeah, just because but people expect everything to happen overnight. It's like, right, this is how it is now. And you go, whoa, hang on a minute. We all need to get our head around it. We can't just change things just like that. And you go, right, now it's this. And you go, yeah, but it wasn't that yesterday. So can I have a minute?
Yeah.
Just chill out a little bit. But yeah, I think we're all changing. We're since the pandemic, I don't think we've given ourselves enough time to sort of get over. It's still ongoing, but from the lockdowns, we haven't really given ourselves time to recover. We're still processing it, and you know, I mean, you had massive changes in your life.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, and I don't think we've given ourselves enough time to process what's gone on.
No, I don't think so either. I think there's stuff that we're going to be dealing with for years, and and how interesting stuff that I've like listened to podcasts about or read about, like kids and particularly like how this is going to affect them. Because there's like the older kids who are, you know, teenagers, young adults, and they sort of got it and it was shitty for them, but they understood it. And then there's like babies, they didn't understand and it didn't affect them. But then there's like kids in the middle who are younger, who couldn't comprehend what was happening.
Yeah.
And also because all the strangers they would meet, they were like covered, like recognizing facial cues, facial expressions, emotions, being able to read that is a thing you start developing when you're younger. So if every time you see a stranger for the first few years of your life, they are like covered like this and you can only see their eyes, you won't be able to recognize and read emotional cues and signals from people.
Right, yeah.
So it'll actually affect kids socially and emotionally a lot different in ways that we haven't even seen yet. And it's fucking with kids' development. And I think from all of that, but from the mental health point of view, and like, I did go through a load of changes when I was in lockdown because I was really unhappy when we went into lockdown. And, but I think a lot of people, they kind of went one way or the other. Some people went off the deep end and went like, what is this even for? And some people did what I did, but there's no right or wrong. But it's just like, I don't think we've all sort of been able to step back because now we've opened up. We're not in lockdown. So everyone's like, okay, go. We got to get back to living. We got to get back to life. Like when's the last time you were at a comedy show that wasn't packed lately? All the clubs, they're packed out since lockdown. People are just like, we got to go out. We got to party. We got to go see. We have to experience things as long as we can, as much as we can, in case it happens again to us.
That's like. True. Yeah. And it's, like you said, I think one of the good things from the lockdowns was it gave us all a moment to kind of, especially us because we travel around all the time. I think it gave us a moment to kind of, we sort of appraising at what the life that we had. We kind of go, actually, it's not too bad, you know, running around doing the gigs. And I was complaining that I was at another train station at 3:00 in the morning, but you know, I miss that now. And I think it made me kind of appreciate it a bit more. Yeah. And appreciate other things. But yeah, there was a lot of people, a lot of people, it really affected them. And I think they were lashing out in different ways. I remember there was an argument kicking off about Jamila Jamil when she was talking about body positivity. And then people were going, yeah, but what does she know? She's 2 stone. And you're going, yeah, but that's not what she's saying. She's talking about, it doesn't matter how big or small you are. It's you know, it's about how you feel, and we shouldn't be. It doesn't matter if you're 2 stone or 20 stone. You should be. You shouldn't be. You should just be able to feel happy with who you are. And I don't know. It was a weird conversation that was happening, and I'm like, all right, everyone chill out. But I don't know. It's a funny one because I want to lose a bit of weight, but because I want to lose, I'm uncomfortable. I don't feel, none of my clothes fit. I feel shit. Even though people say, they go, oh, you know, you're a handsome dude. You're this, you're that. You go, I don't feel that. I feel like a piece of shit. So I'm all for body positivity, but I don't feel positive about mine. So I want to change it. And
I think the whole thing with body positivity and the thing that, like, my thing that I can't sort of get my head around, I think body positivity, I think the terminology, I don't know, maybe that's what I have a hang up on. Because I think it's saying you should be positive and happy all the time with your body that you have, which, like, who the fuck is happy all the time with anything, let alone their own body, right? So that, my whole thing that I really like the idea around and the whole concept around body neutrality. So it's like, you don't need to love yourself all the time, but even if you're big or small or whatever, you should just be allowed to exist without fucking hating yourself or other people hating you publicly and to your face. Like, just have the right to exist. It doesn't need to be, people don't need to love you. They don't need to hate you. Just live. And that's all. And I think that's what I can relate to more. Just having the right to be, because like the moment you know, I shied away from doing comedy for years and years because I was like, who's going to want to hear this fat bitch go up on stage and talk shit and whatever, and everyone's just going to be making fun of me and whatever. So I didn't do comedy for years because I was so like self-conscious of how people would look at me and like, why would anyone want to pay attention to me at the front of the room? Because people, the moment you get up in front of people, or like you see even somebody who's like bigger goes on TV and does something, they go, oh, they're promoting obesity, they're promoting unhealthy lifestyle.
Oh, yeah.
They're just fucking being. They're not promoting anything. They're just being there. Like, just let them fucking live, I think. So body positivity, I think it's really complicated. Like, I get it and I want to be body positive. I think there are people of all shapes and sizes who are healthy and happy and love their bodies, and good for you. And I love that for you. When I talk, and like I talk about this in my show, my solo show that I did, it's about me and my experiences. And like you're saying, that people are going, well, Rich, you're a handsome guy, you're cool, you're very stylish, all this stuff. But you're like, but I don't feel great about myself. And that's what's more important. You got to feel, it's about you. It's not about anyone else. So I went through a lot of changes and I did a lot of stuff that I talk about in my show, but it was all for me. And I'm not trying to preach that it's right for anyone else. For me, it was because I was at a place where I fucking hated myself. And I was like, ready to not be here instead of living that life more.
Oh, mate. Just, and people don't understand that. They don't get it. And I, we've worked together before, and, you know, I didn't think there was an issue. I thought you were fine. You were great. You were like, but you don't know what's going on underneath. Yeah.
No one knew there was an issue. I had close friends that go, I didn't even know this was a thing for you. I'm like, yeah, because I would just go home at night and cry by myself about it and talk about how much I think about how much I hated my life and like all this stuff. And I would just put on this front. So it's even harder because you're acting like everything's fine all the time and you're totally fine. Yeah. But like, it got really, really fucking hard. But I saw this thing the other day that just said, assume everyone you're going to have a conversation with today is grieving in some way or another. And that's how you should go into that conversation with them. And I was like, that's fucking true. Cause you just don't know like what somebody's going through. You really don't know what people are fucking going through. And people, even your best friends who you think are telling you everything, you just don't fucking know.
No. And I think it's that comes up a lot on here. Is that like people say, oh, you know, reach out. You should tell someone how you're feeling, but it's not as easy as that. No, it's just you never know when the right time is. There's a. You always go, oh yeah, but they got shit going on. They don't want to hear this. So there's a way that we can all help each other by just. I know I try and do it, and I fuck it up. I get it wrong all the time. Yeah. But you know, I'll say to someone, you know, like, so how you doing? You good? And they'll go, yeah. I'll go, are you yeah, all good? Because it's a bit fucked in it at the minute. Everything's a bit fucked. I'm skint and I find it a bit hard. And then that way they kind of go, yeah, do you know what? I'm actually, I've had it's a bit shit indoors at the moment or whatever. And there's a way of doing it that you help someone kind of bring it out of them. And, you know, and I get it wrong because sometimes I'll go, you sure? And I go, yeah, I am. Stop going on about it. I go, all right, sorry. Yeah. You know.
Because people need to come to terms with it themselves too. And you want to have a space where people can talk about it. But sometimes, like for me, talking about my weight out loud and talking about how unhappy I was something I couldn't even do. Like I couldn't even do it because then it's almost like, you know, when you say something aloud, it makes it real. And it's like almost like you're pretending, I don't know, like to the outside world, like it doesn't exist. So I've had people be like, yeah, you're okay and everything. I'm like, yeah, I'm good, I'm great. Like everything's good. Because I couldn't even have those conversations with myself. And like even doing material on stage about weight or anything, I never did when I was bigger. I could never bring myself to do it when I was bigger. But obviously everyone could see like the elephant in the room was literally me. And I couldn't do it because that's so confronting to bring it up if you yourself haven't processed it. And I get why people just go, yeah, I'm good, because to even get into like the why you're not good is so deep and so hard. And you haven't even realized it yourself or processed your own stuff. So that's why I'm just like, therapy. Yeah. It's just the fucking, but it's really expensive and it's really hard for people to access. And I'm really lucky I was able to afford it because I had a full-time job during lockdown. And so that's when I started therapy. But it's really fucking expensive. And Yeah,
Yeah.
those resources should be made more available to more people, and unfortunately, they're not, because they're, for me anyway, it was very, very helpful.
Well, that's what it goes back to what we said before. The people in charge of the money aren't investing in.
No.
They're not investing in us, and we're supposed to be paying our taxes, and we're supposed to be paying all these things, and we're getting squeezed again, while the fucking pigs around the trough at the top just they don't even turn around and look at us and go, yeah, more money, as they just keep eating and having a good time. It's like, you're invest in us, and then you'll have they worry about staying in power now. That's all they care about. The different parties, like power. And like, if you treated us with respect and gave us the ability to have a decent life, you'd get the power. We'd vote for you. We'd go, yeah, they've invested all this money in the NHS. They've invested all the money in the people. Everyone's getting a decent wage, but they cannot bring themselves to do it. And you just, it's just like, just do that, and we will vote for you forever.
Well, and it's just people who are happier, healthier, more supported, have better incomes, push more money into the economy, build it stronger. They're more productive. Like, it'll make the country better.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It really does work like that. Like, if you want to see an example of how that doesn't work, is look at America. It doesn't invest in their country at all. And they're like a fucking laughing stock to the rest of the world. They have the worst education, healthcare, all of this shit, because like, they're not investing in their people at all, and they're just falling everywhere in like how they're ranked in the world, because they're just fucking losers, right? America is, to me, I always used to be like, oh, I want to live there. I want to live there. I want to live in New York. I want that like American dream glam life, because we're Canadian. So we're like same, but not. And we're so close, but not quite. And I always wanted it. And now I'm just like, man, America is the girl who peaked in high school. Like,
yeah.
Right? Like, she's the one who we all, when we were younger, like, oh my God, she's amazing. And then after high school, she's like fucking pregnant, deadbeat. And you're like, ugh. I don't think
she's still
all that cracked up. She's still in the hometown, working at the off license, doing whatever. Like, not to say
she goes to the same bar that we always used to go to.
Exactly. She's
still
just
hanging
never
out
gone past there. And she's like, life is good. Remember the good old days? And you're like, no, girl, we moved on. No, I've seen more now. I know more. That's why everyone needs to travel as much or as often as whenever they can, just to like, get outside yourself and get outside your little bubble and just experience things, however you have to do it.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. Get out there and have a look around. And I think, going back to what we were saying about weight loss and things like that, I think there's an assumption that you get to a point where people go, I can't do it. I'm this age now. There's no point. There's that thing they go, oh, once you get to 50, it's harder to get it off. And then you go like, well, no, it's not. Your metabolism might be a bit slower, but not. You can still do it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how big you get or whatever. You can still do something about it. And I know that's easier said than done. And I'd say that as someone who's now in the process of changing things. Yeah. But for years, it wasn't that. For years, I was like, this is it. I can't do anything about it. And that's the thing. It's I don't know where I found the kind of the power to kind of go, enough is enough. I'm fucking changing this. Yeah.
Well, good for you for doing that. Like, good for you for having that kind of like awakening that you want to change. Yes. Is it harder to lose weight and make lifestyle changes as you get older? Absolutely it is.
Yeah.
But is it impossible? No, it's not. And like, it's just something you need to do for yourself. It took me a long fucking time to finally go, because you just think you're so far down this path. You can't even see a light. And in my show, I talk about, because I feel like people who've never struggled with weight they can't always comprehend how helpless you feel and how you go, I'm so far gone, nothing's going to do it. And I joke in my show how people are like, well, just do a little simple, cut out some calories or bring like a yogurt to lunch. I'm like, fuck off. And I try to compare it to like, if you were 500,000 pounds in debt and somebody was like, well, just pack your lunch for work. That'll get you going on your savings. And you go, motherfucker, I'm 500,000 pounds in debt. What the fuck? That's not going to make a dent in that. But then if someone comes up to you and they go, I can that's for me, because I had weight loss surgery, right? So for me, that surgery was like someone coming up to me and giving me like 300, 400 grand of that debt and going, I'll give you a chunk, but you have to do the rest. And I go, okay, now I can fucking see a light at the end of the tunnel. Now this doesn't feel so impossible. But if, you know, you feel like you just go, where can I even go from here? If you are so far in debt or so far gone on something, you know, addicts experience it a lot. Like, it's just, you feel like there's no turning back, and you feel really helpless. And like, I don't know, have you seen the new Brendan Fraser movie, The Whale?
Not yet, but I know of it, yeah.
That was hard to I'm still processing it. It was really, really fucking hard to watch. Because you could just see he was like trapped in this prison of his own making. Yeah. But like, you just, like, I felt everything because I related to it so much. And I related to him so much of like, I'm disgusted. I feel so much empathy. I'm heartbroken for him. I want to push him and like scream at him to fucking come out of it. But then I'm also like, you did this to yourself. You deserve everything you got. And that's how I would talk to myself, right? And I think that's the other thing. A lot of people who struggle with weight, we're told constantly by people in the outside world, this is your fault. This is your fault. You're a disappointment. You're a letdown. All of this is your fault. So you go, I'm a piece of shit. I'm a piece of shit. And then you just go, well, I guess I'm a piece of shit. So what's the fucking point?
Yeah. That's exactly it. And it just, you get to the point, you go, fuck it. I'm just going to, the only joy you get is from, you know, you'll have a pizza and you'll just sit there and you'll have that brief moment of, oh, I feel better now. But then you feel like shit again because you've had the pizza and you're like, I said yesterday I wasn't going to have pizza again. And now I'm having pizza again. And now I just feel shit. And there's that horrible cycle, which is really hard to break. It's really hard. Yeah.
And food is something that's a part of our everyday life, right? You can quit out smoking and go, I'm never going to have a cigarette again. But what if someone told you, oh, well, you actually have to have one cigarette 3 times a day, but then don't get addicted to it? Or like, we have to eat meals a few times a day. It's part of your life. So you have to learn to do it. And I think the biggest thing in like, just have to rewire your brain into thinking about how you think about food. And like, if you want to go and have a pizza or have something or indulge in something, I think you can do that. It's like throwing out a car because you get a flat tire. You can have an off day. One thing can happen. It doesn't mean everything needs to go in the bin, right? It doesn't mean you need to throw away all your progress. You don't need to just go, well, fuck it, I'm done. I obviously failed at this. No, tomorrow's a new day, like fresh start, whatever. You have one meal that's like, and I really am a big believer there's no like bad food and good food or anything like that. Like you just have to like make choices, and you keep making choices every day and going, I'm going to try again tomorrow. I'm going to try again for this next meal. I'm going to try. And you just kind of keep going and doing that stuff. But like, you just have to reframe everything. Like I genuinely thought for years in my life that exercise was purely punishment for the food you eat, because that's how fitness professionals treat it. Like, yeah, work off that donut, work off that thing, work off that disgusting food you indulged in, you piece of shit. Like that's how they talk about it, right? Whereas like, in reality, exercise is really great for your mental health, for endorphins. It's really great for your heart health. It's great for a lot of things that aren't related to weight loss at all. Just metabolic health, like cardiovascular health, all of those things. And it's really good to get outside. And I'm not talking like go to a fucking high intensity HIIT class or something. I'm talking like put on your shoes and go for a walk around the park. Even if it's 20 minutes in the morning, just start your day, grab your coffee, and instead of sitting at your table and drinking it, do a lap around your neighborhood and come back. And that'll automatically get you feeling better. You have some fresh air in you, all that kind of stuff. And I genuinely thought exercise was just punishment for food you ate. So if you starved yourself of those foods, you would not need to exercise. But now I have this complete different thing where I'm like, I remember playing tennis when I grew up. I remember loving tennis when I grew up. So I started playing tennis again. And instead of like investing in like a personal trainer, I was like, let me get a tennis coach. And once a week, we'll do a 2-hour session where I'm like, I'm sweating and being active, but I love it. And I'm not running on a treadmill, looking at a wall or someone's fucking ass in front of me. Like I'm playing tennis, I'm outside, I'm having fun. I'm playing like a sport that I really like. So it's like also find something that works for you and it helps your mental health. If you like football, find a football team of a bunch of other fucking fat old men to play with. And you guys can all have fun and kick a ball around. And like, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't, just find something that you're going to really enjoy doing, that you're going to go, I want to go back next week and I want to go do that again. And exercise doesn't have to look the same for everyone. And like walking alone is the most incredible thing. And I think I just had to retrain my whole mind. But again, it was like, I felt so hopeless. I just thought, what's the point of anything? And I got to the point where I gained so much weight, and I gained even more weight during lockdown when no one really had seen me. I was at my heaviest. that I remember like standing in the kitchen, like making food. And I was like, why does my back hurt so much just from standing? Just because I was carrying so much weight that like my back would hurt just from standing. I'm like, fuck me. Like I'm in my 30s and like I need to change this. If not now, it's only going to get harder as you get older. There's never going to be a better time to make a change than right now. So you just have to fucking dive in.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've hit so many nails on the head with what you've just said. It's like I play football on Tuesdays, not all the time, but as often as I can with other comics, and it's brilliant.
Yeah,
I mean, none of us, we're all right. No one's picking us to play, you know, in the FA Cup, but we get by and we have a good time. None of us are. We just have a really good. It's the whole thing. Because there's been a few people who've come down and have taken it too seriously, and we've had to say to them, look, it's not really what we're about. It's more just a friendly kickabout. So anything like that, go and do that. But the walk as well, I love doing that. And do you know what I love? I love going for a walk in the rain. Because it makes me feel like I've actually done. It feels like harder. It's like like a tough mother, but I've just been for a walk in the rain for 20 minutes. But,
yeah, totally.
You know?
I heard this thing where somebody said like their trick at the gym or walking or whatever is like if you're at the gym and you're on something like a treadmill or whatever, choose a TV show that you only watch at the gym when you're on the treadmill. So you're only allowed to watch that show if you're there. Or like, so I have podcasts that I really love listening to, and I listen to them when I walk. So I only listen to them, like yours, when I walk. So it's like you get to walk around, and then that's your reward. You're really enjoying this thing, and you go for the walk as long as the podcast goes for, and it just makes it go by so quickly. And you just go and wander and explore, and like it is genuinely so good. But yeah, and don't think you need to go, okay, I need to go get all the gym kit. I need to go get all my stuff. I need to go get a membership because that's cost prohibitive and everything. Plus, like, the shitty thing is that I think a lot of people don't understand. They go, just go work out. Okay. Most gyms are not welcoming to fat people. That's a fact.
No.
Right?
Not at all.
They just aren't. And you talk to individual people who go, yeah, I'd see that. But yeah, you'd also people will take videos of fat people in gyms and make fun of them for working out. Like, they're in the fucking gym, mate. Like, what more do you want from them? Most workout companies, most like when I was growing up, like Lululemon, those types of places, right? The founder, Chip Wilson, has like famously talked about how he doesn't want fat women wearing his clothes. Most workout companies and athletic clothing brand companies, they don't make workout wear in bigger sizes, right? Sweaty Betty, they don't make it in bigger sizes. So, and then we're not welcomed at gyms. A lot of machines people don't get have weight limits on it and are not suited or would fit somebody of a larger body as well. So how the fuck then do you think I'm just supposed to go and suck it up and work out with all these people who are like shredded and in their cute little gym outfits when I've got like fucking pajama bottoms, a baggy t-shirt, old trainers, like, you know, and at this like gym that I can barely afford, and like trying to go into one of these classes where I can't keep up with anyone or I can barely fit into the machines. How is that going to make me feel any sort of way? And like, people just, I don't think people get, it's just not as easy as you think it is. It's like, it's just not that simple.
It's especially when you're younger as well. You're more aware. You're more worried about what people think of you. It's a bit. I'm very lucky now. I'm in my 50s. I don't worry about it as much. I want to change things for me. I don't like what I see, and so that I see my reflection in a shop window or a car window. And I'm like, the fuck it. Oh, come on, man. That's me. But when you're younger, and especially when you go to somewhere like the gym, you think you don't realise that no one gives a fuck. No one's actually looking at you. Everyone's kind of doing their own thing. But there might be the odd look, but people are in their own thing. But you don't think that. You think you walk in there in your pajamas, in your big shirt, and you think the whole place just goes, look at the fucking state of that. And it immediately put off, and then you can't work the machines, you know, you're not putting on as many weights as the other people, and you feel like, and it's so hard to get through that. Yeah. And like so many people make that one step, turn around and never go again. Yeah. That's why that's why you don't need to go to the gym. Personal trainers will tell you that. Proper, decent personal trainers will tell you don't need to go to the gym. You just need to do what you said. Go for that walk around the park. Little changes, like don't put sugar in your coffee. You know, just things like little changes. You know, if you're having, I've said this so many times, if you're having a bowl of soup and you have a sandwich with your soup, just have one sandwich and then half a sandwich and just change it really slow. It'll take a while, but those little changes will make so much difference in the long run. And that's all you need to do.
I think one of the bigger things too is like people who are often going to the field of like nutrition, health, personal trainers, everything. Those are people who have grown up naturally thin, right? They have genetics that make them naturally thin. And they go, this is what I do to keep this body. Okay, well, everyone in your family is thin and fit. All the genetics, everyone in my family is overweight. Every single person. I grew up overweight. Everyone is overweight. Genetics play a huge role in weight. And I'm not saying you can't do things that can alter that, but I genuinely don't think, like, I'd have to starve myself to get really small, right? I don't think, I sort of do think that some bodies are just meant to be a little bit bigger. I'm not saying obese or overweight or whatever, but it's just like, and I think so part of the problem is that like the people you want to take advice from are people who have never dealt with it in their lives. Who've never been through it, never experienced it. But exactly what you're saying, like small changes in anything make a huge difference. If you have, even if you are someone who has like a drinking problem and you drink loads and loads and loads, if you cut back to going, okay, well, I drink, a bottle of wine a night, I'll have 2 glasses of wine a night instead, to maybe go down and down and down and down and down. But like, you don't need to go cold turkey to see change. And it's really difficult to do that. And like, change is really, really fucking hard. So also have some forgiveness for yourself. And that not every day is going to be this great triumphant day where you're really proud of yourself, and just give yourself a little bit of grace and a little bit of like leeway. And I think we offer that to other people, but we don't give that to ourselves.
No.
And also I think the thing is like people fat shame people a lot. People want to change other people, but it's like, we don't know how hard it is to change ourselves. You're never going to change somebody else. You're never going to do it. Change is a very difficult thing. And you have to want to do it for yourself. But it takes a lot to get there.
Oh, it's hard, but it's doable. It doesn't matter what age you are. It's all possible. Yeah, and it's going to be hard making it. Like I've now come to the realization that I don't drink at home, but I can't when I'm out. If I have 1 pint, then I'm like, right, I'm going to have more. And I'm going to drink, and then so now I have to be like, I've only realised this in the last few weeks, and so now when I'm at gigs, I now have to say no, thank you, I don't want one, because I'll do the gig, I'll have a pint, and then I'll go out afterwards, and then I'll end up, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. So now I'm like, and that's really, it's so hard because I'm also a little bit sort of socially. I get a bit nervous when I'm in company, and it takes me a bit to kind of go, hey, and relax around everybody, and a drink speeds that up. So I'll have a pint, and then I feel better, and then I'm good. So it's hard, but I'm going to do it, and I'm making those changes. And it's like, make the phone call that you've been putting off, send the email, even if it's been too long, you haven't replied to an email. And you go, oh, fuck, I should have replied to that ages ago. Say, do you know what? I'm really sorry I've not replied to this before. I've just, you know what? I built it up in my head. It got bigger than it should have been. This is why I'm doing this now. I'm really sorry. And people, 9 times out of 10, they'll be pretty cool. They'll go, no, don't worry, it's fine. We'll do it. Yeah.
And most people go like, because I recently went home for a while because my dad got sick, and I was home helping take care of him and stuff. He's okay now, which is great. But I went MIA, like on everything. And I just went like, I had some bookers text me being like, are you okay? Are you coming back? Like, what is happening? And I really did not answer. People were following up on emails. And I was just like, I just wasn't in the headspace to answer them. Do you know what I mean? And like comedy talk when I'm like in a hospital, my dad's getting his lung cut out. And like, I wasn't there. And when I came back, and I was just really honest, I was like, look, I was going through a really hard thing. I was dealing with this, and I was with my family, whatever. And everyone was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry for like pestering you with emails. I didn't know you were dealing with all that. But most people are understanding. And I think it is just being like, don't be like, oh, sorry, man, I was like too busy and whatever. Just like, but just like, if you're not a dickhead, I think most people go, oh yeah, I'm really sorry you having to deal with all that shit. Yeah. And they just like are pretty nice to you. Like, generally, I think. But small changes everywhere.
Yeah. Just all you got to do. it doesn't have to be like, write a to-do list. If you get it done, then fine. If you don't beat yourself up. If you tick a couple of things off, you tick one thing off a day.
Yeah.
You're still achieving. You still achieve more than you did yesterday.
Exactly.
If you have one biscuit instead of two, then that's a small change. And then eventually you'll have a biscuit every now and again. Just do it now. Like you said, now is the best time.
Yeah. And also my sister's on a weight loss journey now, and which has been amazing, and she's doing fantastic, but she'll be like, oh, I only lost, 1.5 pounds this week. I'm like, yeah, but okay, you're still losing. And if you hadn't been doing this sort of health journey and stuff, you don't always lose a ton of weight every single week. And 1.5 pounds in a week, it was weight you never would have lost back then. And cumulatively, you're doing really great, and you're still losing, and you're still doing great. So also don't be so hard on yourselves, right? You can't go from sitting on the couch to running a marathon. You have to train, it has to build up, and it takes time. And that's the same with weight loss or getting healthy or changing habits. It just needs to take time. So just have some patience with yourself, that you're not going to get to your goal tomorrow. But also, one of the biggest things for me that I found, and I don't know, you might find this helpful, which I really like, is I think we focus so much on the scale and how much we weigh. And you're such a fashion guy too. So clothes could be a really good motivator for you. It'd be I really want this cool jacket that I really want to fit into, and I want that. Something like that could be really great, as a goal. But I have a huge list of non-scale victories that I wanted to get. And even still, so there's stuff that I still can't do. And then there was stuff that I was I put on there, different ones. Literally one of them was being able to just cross my legs. I swear to God, you know how proper little ladies just cross their legs. I couldn't physically do that before because I was too big. And so now it's such a comfortable thing for me to do. But every time I cross my legs, it makes me so happy. and I had it on my non-scale victory list. And another thing was, for the last few years before I had the surgery, I needed a seatbelt extender on every airline I had taken, airplane I had taken, which was devastating and heartbreaking. I have a lot of stories about that are just still make me just crumble inside. But one of my goals was be able to get on a plane and just do up a seatbelt without, with minimal effort of just a normal seatbelt. And the first time I was able to do that, I was crying on the plane, and the flight attendant's we're about to take off. She's like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm just, a normal person sitting on a plane. Those things, I think, make a list of whatever you're trying to do, of things that you couldn't have done before that don't have anything to do with the scale. They don't have to do with a number, because then you go, even if I go a couple weeks without losing weight, or even if I feel like I'm not bad, you go back and look at all the things you couldn't do before, all the things you couldn't have before that now you can do. That is amazing. And I think that'll also give you motivation to keep going, of those kind of little things, or just setting goals like that for yourself.
I love that. It's a beautiful way to finish.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kate. So your show's going to be on at Soho Theatre?
Yes, I'm doing 2 days, April 12th and 13th, which is a Wednesday and Thursday, of my Edinburgh show, Losing Myself. And it talks about growing up as a fat, awkward kid, and then what led up to the change and how that all happened, and me now, and lots of jokes. It's not all you're not going to leave wanting to kill yourself, but unlike some Edinburgh hours. It's good fun. It's at Soho Theatre. So yeah, and I'm on social media, everything at Kate Barron, Barron, 2 R's. So I would love it if anyone could come.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for giving us your time. It's been a real pleasure, because we haven't spoken for ages. We haven't seen you for ages, so it's nice.
But we always, I feel whenever I see you, we get on like a house on fire. I feel it's just so easy to chat with you. So this has just been lovely. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much for coming on.